Alright, so I've gotten into Warframe again, and I've taken a break from introduction of a steel path, so July 2020 to about now, which is July 2022. I've gotta say that I've already gotten thousands of hours in this game and loved it, but I always played it like this, taking long breaks and then having deep dives in between. That's just to say I have a lot of things other players would probably not have. Almost all the primes, almost all the weapons, all the arc wings, max prime mods, you get the idea. So I've gotten bored and then had my passion reinvigorated time and time again. This time I've been presented with a series of quests, a new coverage system and about 5 prime accesses and 2 completely different new areas. I touched some of that content here and there, but I still consider that time a break, as I didn't really get more than 10 minutes of each. First 2 quests. I will be honest, I don't remember any of them except the new war. Warframe's story always felt like a complete afterthought and was a bit of a mess. I am really not a fan of it. And yet this quest was a huge departure from that. It's highly scripted and disconnected from the rest of the game, deliberately so for once, and it was completely incredible. It starts with 2 stories of Grenier and Corpus goons confronting, well, the new war. Sentients rolling in and taking over. Those were brilliant, and I would kill for more stuff like this. I have no idea how these segments can get expanded, but I loved them to death anyway. After that was a bit of a meh part with Railjack. I really don't remember most of it. Irrelevant. And there is Tenshin, who is pretty much a worse Warframe. Honestly didn't care for that part either. Just like a sentient anomaly in Railjack, it felt kinda underbaked. Desolate areas, not enough enemy variety, lots of grey, blah, yeah. One thing I'd praise though is the movement. Bullet jump isn't available, and instead it's physics-defined throwing weapon to which Tenshin can grapple. That felt really fun to use. If there was a frame with no bullet jump in the future, I'd probably play this for weeks. After that, some spoilerific things happening, and I think there's a lot of cool flair regarding that. Being presented with a very limited way to play felt very immersive. I loved it, and it gave the world stakes for once, instead of being a genocide simulator. Which I do like, of course, but a more serious approach is cool once in a while. The Drifter segment felt limiting, humbling, and appreciative for just how much power the player normally has and what happens without it. There are a few segments hinting toward the player's past and character here and there, and those were okay, but I just didn't care for it very much. Operator backstory always felt weak to me, and the less player knows, the better it is in my opinion. Which is why the more confusing parts were so much more interesting to me. Like one screenshot everyone posted with a goofy smile, or sitting at a table with oneself. It still could have benefited from less is more kind of approach, but it was okay. After that there is more stuff, blah blah blah, and then it ends in a somewhat crappy boss fight. I did not like it. There's also a choice, which felt a bit heavy-handed, considering the fact that it's not supposed to be up to the player to make it, but whatever. So the end result of this quest is some glorious magnificence. Cool stuff, which could get old if repeated too much, and passable content, which got old during the first time. Very much like Warframe always is. So that's the quests. Kovaliches, or Sisters of Parvos. Sisters below, going down where the winds don't blow. Yes, we're all bound down to the deep, and we'll all be... So, for that alone, I'd say it was amazing. I was bobbing my head to the tune for days, made me want to record myself try hard singing it. And I don't sing. Damn, is that song catchy. And that scene is ridiculously cool. Boy, oh boy, okay. So the quest itself was... I do approve of more Railjack, but I felt like there wasn't enough done with it. Railjack is insanely cool, but there's not enough to do with it. You just kind of flew around and then came back to normal missions while in the Railjack. So I approve of another quest for it, but I just pray D gets someone who polishes it to high heaven and gives it all Blizzard level of content. And this is gonna be the best game ever. As for the sisters themselves, there was a change, but now the lich doesn't die, and instead the player goes to confront them in a final boss fight somewhere in a space on Railjack, which is also really cool. God, Warframe is such a cool game. I really love how cool it is. But the grind which was here before is exactly the same. It took me 2 or 3 hours of solo missions to get my 10 at Plasmor. I wish we'd make it faster and focus more on fighting the Lich's sisters instead of grinding thralls or doggies. Primes are a thing I always grinded and not all once bought. Now, I think it was a mistake, as I bought Nazha for 38 platinum a few days ago. This probably could have taken days to farm, and I bought it from the amount I've made in about 5 minutes of sitting with Warframe market open. Which is an amazing site, and I recommend everyone uses it, and I hope D pays them royalties of some sort of official implementation. Anyway, I've used it before, and for some reason the site changed since then, no longer accepting my old account, needing a new one. That is a little weird and fishy, but whatever. I just wanted to mention it. So I bought 4... food doesn't sit right. So I've bought 4 full Prime Access sets for less than 500 platinum total. And I decided to hold off on buying the 2 most recent ones, since they were about 50% more expensive than the others. If you person listening has a problem with grinding and randomness of this game, good lord is Warframe market a godsend. It felt like cheating after I farmed everything, like I wrote a cheat code and poof, I got 4 Warframes and 8 new weapons. It's absolutely nuts. Also, people, buy my Ravens, please. It seriously didn't cost that much. 38 platinum, the normal Warframe could cost 275 from the market. How insane is that? Oof. So 2 new areas. I'll start with the second, Zariman. It sucks. No 2 ways about it. Grindy, difficult, tedious objectives, operator on the combat forced on the player, and I hate operator combat. As well as collectathon rep grind. Thankfully no fishing, mining or conservation. Fuck conservation with a gram-sized pole. Still, it felt underbaked and very weak compared to a lot of other stuff D has released in the past. Even the design of the NPCs. If there's one thing D can do right, then it's making things look cool. Holdfasts do not look cool. They look like someone stuck tinfoil on people's faces. So this was a pretty hefty left down. Deimos though, boy, I don't know how to put it better, but I love to hate it. It's doing everything in a frustrating way, but for some reason I enjoy the hell out of it and I want to keep playing it unlike the other 2 open worlds. Plains I hate, just no 2 ways about it. Fortuna I loved, because snow, giant mushrooms, neon lights and killing corpus. Love me some dead corpus. But for whatever reason Deimos is different. There are new annoying enemies with damage reduction which need precise aiming. Big tough bullet sponges, annoying conservation which keeps completing itself. Also with conservation the player needs to advance the syndicate rep. Mining in an area where it's impossible to see jack shit. Fish and flying creatures, what is up with that? That is so weird, and I still don't know how to find the hotspots despite being almost max rep. And also necramechs which got about 5 bajillion% damage reduction, hit for 70k melee and refused to go down after I spent all my ammo on primary, secondary and arc gun, despite my stuff one-shotting level 100 enemies. None of it sounds fun. And yet I enjoy it. I have no idea why. I hate fishing. I like fishing in Deimos. I hate mining. I still dislike mining in Deimos. I hate those precise enemies. I like fighting them on Deimos. Okay, I hate necramechs, that one I still dislike. But overall though, I loved Campion Drift. And I will keep calling it Deimos. Even the rep grind with annoying tokens, even that somehow felt good. It feels like I can do like 20 bounties in one day and then completely stop getting rep every day from the tokens. The stupid daily rep limit doesn't feel punishing. The different family members feel cool to interact with. They all have character. Despite Sun being an annoying little shit, I still can't remember anyone's names from Ostron. But with Andrati, I wanna know more. I wanna hang out with these strange infested flower people. It just felt cool to interact with them. So I do approve of this area. Aside from that, there was also Corpus Railjack, which, well, underbaked. And galvanized mods, which, well, whatever. Enemy scaling was changed, well, I don't know how. Also, Granum Void is no longer as annoying, for some reason. I just remember hating it. Now, I actually enjoy it. And also, I'm pretty sure a lot of things got buffed. The things which sucked. Like, thrown weapons are now insane. I just run around and throw Zoris, healing to full with every hit, and getting 400k, one time actually hit for 1 million. as well as leaving behind at least 50k dots. More dots. Everything got polished by the looks of it. But I can't really point out much else. Appreciate it, sure, but there's just not much to say about it. So I'm loving my time with Warframe right now. I think it's extremely unhealthy for the game if everyone played like me, but I do recommend this way for enjoyment's sake. Just play a lot in short spurts and take breaks for months. Come back to bugs fixed, new cool toys to play with, and a fun new quest. Digital extremes are passionate people who are sometimes misguided, and giving them some time to sort things out lets them make some great things. I sure as hell hope they continue and work out whatever kinks there still are. Okay, so, this is a bit later. After maxing out holdfasts, vent kids, and the little duck reps after refusing to do them. First, vent kids. Turns out that tricks are a trap, and it's infinitely easier to level by spamming races. Just ignore tricks entirely, don't press Ctrl while flying, don't try to grind, don't try to spin. It might look cool at first, but that's not how you level, as it turns out. Those races also give a hefty amount of rep. It's actually pretty easy to level every board and get to max rank with them, which also unlocks mods which make Wave Rider quest a lot easier. I wish there was something that actually says that, but hey, this was always a problem. Second, little duck. For one, I'll say that toroids were an awful idea before, and it still is. However, there was a bonus weekend for double resources, which stacks with a booster you can get from a market or sorties. So I got a bit more than 100 during that. It took a while, considering Corpus refused to raise an alarm on me and spawned beacons exclusively right in front of my rocket launcher. But hey, that is always a problem. So, the rep itself is a travesty. However, it turns out that booster affects profit taker toroid drops, so you can get 2 per run. I don't believe this was the case. Those runs can get faster after getting used to them, as I was taking 20 minutes before trying to optimize it a bit more. And now I do it in less than 10. And every toroid those drop is 6k, so with a booster it's 12k per, 8-minute boss kill. So this rep is still the worst syndicate grind in the game. Nothing truly changed, but I finally did it, so hey, I just need to say it. And finally, holdfasts. It turns out their rep grind is actually very, very easy, but it heavily depends on the bounties. It could be Void Flood with Operator only kill sub-objective, or it could be an Exterminate in 6 minutes. It's obvious which one is easier. The problem is that the new modes are badly done. Vitablast is impossible to see. Void Armageddon has horrifically bad rewards for being a high-level mode. And the last one is just not very fun. I barely played it, so I suggest avoiding all the new modes. Maybe play them for a little bit, but if you wanna rep grind, wait for mobile defense or exterminate bounty and grind that a few times. When it's a breeze of a syndicate. Now, what is actually important about them are 2 things. Incarnate weapons and arcanes. There are some great arcanes like the Augment one, a constantly stacking power strength which just stays on. I assumed it disappears in cast, but it's not the case at all. Great stuff. As for the weapons, they need resources, which drop in single quantities from a new boss. And it's not like you need one. The primary I'm building right now costs 15 boss kills. Boy, is that a lot. Tell me any other boss which needs to be killed 15 times to craft a single weapon. Thankfully the boss is not that difficult if you've got a prism and weapon modded to kill level 100 enemies. But man, they went overboard on those requirements. Weapons themselves get a new system of upgrades which need some simple unlocks, kinda like Rivens. I very much do not like these upgrades. The last one simply feels too powerful. 2000% on non-crits. It's... no, just no. It's like super crits. It's like red crits on non-crits. It's just... no, it's not good. And the ones before are kinda... well, I don't... it's like the ultimate upgrade is just the ultimate upgrade, and everything before that you don't even care what's in there. Again, the system feels underbaked. Those weapons also feel a bit out of place, and they make most of all the weapons seem like an outdated joke. So, now I'm completely caught up on everything. I think some of the additions were good, but some were kind of a confusing mess, very much in style for DE. Love you guys, but you always make a bunch of issues. You always have a bunch of issues.